Dr. North, thanks for joining me today here for the Simple Things newsletter. So I wanted to talk to you about this whole idea of mindfulness, because when you say the word mindfulness, I kind of have my own imagination or my own thoughts about what that means. But how do you define mindfulness? And then I want to get into just for a minute how it can help me in my business.
So I'll start with just a pure definition, then we'll talk about how it can help you in your business, Dave, and each person who's listening, how it can help each of you in your business. But the pure definition of mindfulness is choosing to be completely present in the moment without judgment. And so that presence could be when you're listening to somebody or interacting with somebody, but it also can be with your own thoughts.
You know, you and I have talked about this on my podcast, and we'll give a link to that. But it was funny because the other day I had a situation where I had a meeting coming up, and all of a sudden I felt this urge to cancel the meeting. Like, I don't want to do this, so because of you and I talking, I intentionally got present in that moment, and I became in touch with, okay, what am I feeling right now? What's going on in my head? And I was able to kind of sort out what the fear that I had was because of this meeting, and I was able to deal with it in advance, and I went ahead with the meeting, and it was a great meeting. I think that's kind of what you're talking about here, right? Is the ability to just kind of get present with myself and know what I'm feeling so that I can deal with those feelings.
Yes, Dave, that's awesome. So what you did was you sort of reverse engineered the feeling, and that's perfect. And you do that with the part of your brain that's in the prefrontal cortex. It's called the outside observer, and it's literally the most sophisticated part of your brain. And the more you can develop that, the wiser you become. So the reverse engineering was you had a feeling. So feelings have to come from something. So feelings come from thoughts come from beliefs generally, and attached to the beliefs are often fears. So by tracing the feeling back to the thought and back to the fear, then you can deal with the fear, and then you can choose to go forward in a constructive way. That was awesome. Great example.
In my case, I think it's a fear that I've had meetings like this before, and I got excited because it was a new possibility, and then nothing came of it. And so I think I was just kind of feeling like, well, this will probably be the same thing. But it turns out the meeting went well and full of possibility. So I appreciate your talks on mindfulness. So can you kind of give us a quick bit of advice here in this little quick video interview about how we can implement that idea of mindfulness in our own lives, in our own businesses, or whatever we're going through?
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate the outcome of what you did. By doing what you did, by having that mindful moment, you changed the outcome from what it probably would have been if you hadn't done that. So instead of going down the track of auto response and having a bad outcome, an outcome that you weren't happy with, you actually changed you, which changed the outcome. So that is the whole point of a mindful moment. So by having mindful moments, by taking control of your breathing, taking control of your mind, your thought process, and be able to go back to the deepest level of what's really going on. What that does as a business person is it allows you to be more creative. It allows you to be a better problem solver, and it makes you a much wiser decision maker. And then if you take it at sort of the highest level, Steve Jobs is one of the greatest examples of somebody who meditated for years and was able to create these very deep mindful moments where he could create something that didn't exist by connecting dots in his mind in a way that nobody else could. And that's just an extreme example of the creativity that comes with deep mindfulness.
So if you had to give us just the top number one thing we could implement today in how to be more mindful, what would that be?
Well, I'll just build off your example, since it's such a wonderful example. Pay attention to what you feel. Trace your feeling back to what are you thinking to create that feeling. And is that thought and feeling helping you? Is it what's ideal in this moment? If not, how can you change your thinking to be more ideal in this moment? Do you need to be more confident? Do you need to be more relaxed? Do you need to be more energized? Do you need to be more laid back? What is it? And then create the thought that creates that emotion that creates the action.
Well, I know it's worked in my life just from the one example I gave you, and I've implemented it on several other occasions too. So I know it can work for our readers and viewers as well. Dr. North, thank you for taking the time out to give us this valuable advice, and I hope people will put it in practice in their lives.
Thank you, Dave. Always love working with you.